Hi, I'm Robert Harley, editor of the Absolute Sound magazine, and I'm here in my listening room with a very special guest and a very, very special product that he's just set up for us. I'm with Daniel Cohen, the founder and chief designer of Alsyvox, a Spanish company that makes full-range ribbon loudspeakers. And we've just set up his magnum opus, which is called the Michaelangelo. This is his statement product in full-range ribbon loudspeakers.
Just a brief interruption, esteemed viewers. If you enjoy our videos, you might also like our other work for audiophiles and music lovers: written equipment reviews, editor's choice ratings, product news, and music reviews. Get the latest each week with a free subscription to our email newsletters. A link is in the description.
And a little bit of history. I reviewed the smaller model of Alsyvox, the Caravaggio, last year, and it was really a spectacular sounding loudspeaker. I came to Alsyvox by hearing it at the 2016 Rocky Mountain Show. My colleague Jonathan Vallon came up to me and said, "Hey, you got to hear this amazing ribbon speaker." So I heard it, and it was amazing, but at the time, Alsyvox didn't have US distribution. So now Alsyvox is distributed by Rhapsody in New York, and they have 6 showrooms across the country. So it's easily accessible. And the Caravaggio was really an amazing product. And it's very different from full-range ribbons of the past. You know, we tend to think of apogees as being very difficult to drive, blowing up amplifiers, don't play loudly, no low bass, low sensitivity. And Daniel's been making ribbon loudspeakers for 35, 40 years, something like that. And he's overcome all of these challenges with ribbon loudspeakers. And the Caravaggio has a sensitivity of 94 dB, bass extension of 22 hertz, I believe. And in fact, I drove it with a single-ended tube amplifier. So it's unheard of to drive a full-range ribbon with a single-ended triode amplifier. But he's overcome all these limitations in a single stroke of ribbon loudspeakers. And so this is the Michaelangelo statement product that I'll be reviewing in the magazine. So Daniel, welcome to the listening room, and thanks for bringing these out and coming all the way from Spain to set these up.
Thank you, Robert.
And maybe you could tell us a little bit about how ribbon loudspeakers work, how they're different, and why you've dedicated your life to making nothing but ribbon speakers.
Yeah. Well, ribbon speakers are the perfect line source. So that was the reason why I started making them, because I was making dipoles using several woofers, one on top of the other. And then I was looking for a high frequency transducer doing something like that. And instead of using a big number of small tweeters, I decided that a continuous ribbon would have been more homogeneous, so with a better result. So that's how I started making just the tweeter, the ribbon tweeter. So years after years, I understood that just the tweeter was not enough. I needed to make with a similar or same technology all the rest of the frequencies. And finally, I could develop a woofer that is a sort of a ribbon. It's not really a ribbon.
Planar.
It's a ribbon planar, because there are ribbons glued on a mylar diaphragm. So it's not really a ribbon. We call it ribbon planar.
But the entire diaphragm is conductive.
Yes, almost entire.
Almost the entire.
Yeah, yes.
It's different from a planar magnetic that has single
wires
attached to a mylar film.
Right. That was the original patent by Magnepan.
Magnepan.
Yes.
So it's like a voice coil stretched out in straight line segments.
Right.
But the entire diaphragm is conductive.
Yeah, correct. And well, the advantage you can get out of this kind of design is that you have a sort of layer of air that is a sort of transparent layer that is passed through by the music. So that gives the sort of transparency, that sense of transparency that comes from these kind of speakers. It was not very easy to overcome the limitation, as you said. We finally decided to make a push-pull on the woofers to have enough force, enough efficiency to move the diaphragm. It's a very big diaphragm. And on top of that, it has a significant stroke. So it's about 2 centimeter stroke that allows for significant pressure in the low end of the frequencies.
And very powerful magnets that weren't available
Yes, those
back
are
then.
the neodymium magnets. Yes, yes.
And the Caravaggio had nearly 2,000
This
magnets.
is more or less double.
Yeah.
They are double a Caravaggio in size,
Yeah.
and it's more or less double the number
So
of
a
magnets.
Caravaggio has this mid-range panel, or this woofer panel with a mid-range and tweeter.
Yes.
And this has 2 woofer panels.
Correct.
And that increases the sensitivity 97 dB for the speaker.
Yes, about
That's
3 dB
astounding.
more.
That's like horn sensitivity from a ribbon. That's unheard of.
Yeah, and that helps to give a sense of vitality to the
dynamics,
music,
yeah.
the dynamics, the
You
vitality.
don't need to turn it up. You
It's
get
not
that
just
life.
the fact that you can use a single-ended tube amplifier.
Right.
That's one of the things, but also the sense of live music.
It
comes
has
from
other
that.
virtues, the high sensitivity.
Right.
And the other thing about ribbons is the transient response. The ribbon is so low in mass, it can respond very quickly to input signals and then stop very quickly. It doesn't have that
Right.
inertia.
Yes, and all the surface is motorized.
It's driven over the entire
right,
surface.
Right, so there
not
is
by a voice coil
no
at the center.
inertia that is creating strange modes.
So tell us a little bit about this. It's a 4-way system, is that right?
Yeah, this is a 4-way system, exactly same as Caravaggio. So there is a woofer, in this case the 2 woofers, side by side, perfectly symmetrical. This is the most important feature of the model compared to Caravaggio, being symmetrical. And I will tell you later why it's important. So double woofer, the 2 mid-ranges, which are already present in Caravaggio. It's a double mid-range in Caravaggio as well, but it's not like this symmetrical. The 2 are side by side. And here the mid-range extends well below the visible part. So it's hidden by the magnets. It's actually it's 45 millimeters wide. Probably the widest ribbon ever made.
That
probably.
is wide, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And at the inside, it's a double tweeter and a single super tweeter.
Super tweeter.
Yeah. So everything is symmetrical. Why symmetrical? First of all, you get higher efficiency, making everything double. So that's easy. But also the fact that having everything symmetrical, and we use only 6 dB crossovers, that means that when you make a crossover, you create a sort of maximum SPL lobe, and this is moving with the frequencies. It's not aiming at the listener. It's going somewhere else, and this is creating distortion to the image of the system. So with the perfect symmetrical, the lobe, the maximum SPL, is always in front of the speaker and in the back as well, with reverse phase, but it stays stable. It doesn't move with frequency, and that helps a lot with the imaging. And the influence of the room itself is, I wouldn't say 0, but minimum.
Right, and another virtue of ribbons is there's no energy to the sides to reflect off the sidewall or the ceiling. It's a dipole. And then the rear wave, you can see how far out in the room they are here. The back wall, the room essentially participates in creating the soundstage, and that's one of the things I noticed about the Caravaggio is that enormous sense of space and depth. And by the way, I forgot to mention that the Caravaggio was the Absolute Sound's overall product of the year, not just in the loudspeaker category, but the single most impressive product in any category we reviewed over the entire year. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Really an amazing product. So this is the next step up from the Caravaggio. Tell me about the crossovers. The crossovers are external.
Yes, there are external boxes in the back. The biggest box contains the crossover for the central part. I don't know if you have noticed, but these are 3 panels. So there is a center panel that is physically separate from the other 2. So the interaction of vibration with it between all the different transducers is limited. So the biggest box is driving the 3 ways that stays in the center section, and the 2 woofers are connected to a smaller box. So there are 2 separate boxes. Having 2 separate boxes also helps keeping to the minimum the influence of the big coils that inevitably are used to cut the frequency of the woofers.
Right, the big series inductor on the low pass on the woofer circuit is physically isolated from the rest of the crossover.
Correct.
And it's a massive crossover.
Yeah, separate crossover, as we know, they also have the advantage of fitting any size of components without limitations, and also avoiding the vibrations of the speakers being transmitted to the components of the crossover that as any electrical components, they have some sensitivity to vibrations. Some components more, some other components a bit less, but everything has sensitivity to vibrations.
And how many speakers are in your line? This is the biggest you make, but you make some smaller ones for more moderately sized rooms.
Right. Yeah, we tend to use exactly the same attention, same quality, same materials into all the different models. It's just a matter of how big the room is. With a small difference regarding the external crossovers, because the small models are available also with an internal crossover that of course has a lower quality than the internal crossover, but the external is just an addition that you can buy in a second time. So the smallest is the Tintoretto, height more or less like this, and it fits in normal size room like 15 square meters, 25 square meters, relatively small. Then the mid-size is the Botticelli, this high, and those 2 are 3 ways. So there is a super tweeter, a mid tweeter, and a woofer. Then we go to the Caravaggio, the one that you tried last year. Caravaggio is available with 2 levels of quality in the external crossover, normal and higher quality, double X. That is what you had here. And that is already a 4 ways. So the ribbons for the mid-range are added to this one. Then we go to the first symmetrical. So it's a sort of 2 ways that go into different direction in the development. One is going into more ways, so more attention to the mid-range, and the other one is going towards a higher efficiency and symmetrical design to have less interference with the room walls. So the symmetrical is Raffaello. It's the same height, more than 2 meters, same as Caravaggio, but that's symmetrical. So it uses 2 tweeters like this, 1 super tweeter in the middle like this, no mid-range at all, and 2 smaller woofers on the side. And that is a 1 piece. The maximum width I can make and move 85 centimeters
piece,
width. I won't make anything wider in 1 piece. So this is 3 pieces. And this is just merging the 2 different ways of development that we have gone through. One is the 4 ways design with the additional mid-range, and the other one is the higher efficiency and symmetrical. So putting them together, we come to the Michaelangelo. That is 4 ways, symmetrical.
Right, and the double woofers and the high sensitivity and everything you've always wanted to do in a ribbon speaker. Talk a little bit about the advantages of having such a large diaphragm moving air as opposed to a cone piston.
Well, many advantages. Of course, wider surface means that to make the same SPL, you need less displacement. Less displacement means less distortion because the magnetic fields are never perfectly constant. So if you move the diaphragm, it will create some distortion.
Like in a dynamic speaker where the voice coil leaves the gap at the ends of its excursion and it becomes nonlinear.
Yeah, correct. And the other advantage is the coupling with the air. So you don't care about the movement, you care about the pressure. So if you have a wider surface, it's easier to transfer the energy into pressure, starting from the movement. Yeah.
Subjectively, there seems to be a greater physicality to the sound with with a diaphragm like this.
Yes, yes, I think it's true, and you feel it when you sit on your couch. You feel the vibration in the couch. Huh? You know, it's just not just sound; it's also physical vibration. And the other advantage is also related to higher frequency transducers, like tweeter, for example. If you consider the surface of a ribbon tweeter is so many times higher than a normal dome tweeter.
But less mass, even though it's much bigger.
Maybe less mass, but for sure higher surface.
Right.
So more easier transfer of energy to the air.
Right, so it can respond very quickly and then stop very quickly.
Yes.
That's one of the hallmarks of a ribbon, is that transient response and transparency.
And this is, I would say, one of the most important parts of music.
That's right, dynamics.
Dynamics and transient.
Right, that's so much.
Without that, music would be very boring.
That's true, that's true. Transient response is such an important part. So you make all these yourself in Spain?
Yes, yes, everything is made by me and my wife. We do not trust anybody. We want to be 100% sure that what we sell is exactly what we want to sell, that's part of the warranty, our signature on the products.
Part of the experience, the Alsyvox experience. All right, well, thank you so much for that explanation, and watch for my review in an upcoming issue of the Absolute Sound.
Thank you, everybody.